Krishna, thank you for coming. We'll start off with Mangal Charan prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Gana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranama Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are continuing with the 12th chapter Bhagavad Gita as it is, which is entitled Devotional Service. Yes. Where is our 12th chapter man? Is not here. God watch over Begum here. Not 12th chapter. 12th chapter didn't turn up. Okay, what we'll do is we'll recite the verses up to 5. We're doing 5 last time, right? So we'll recite 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 shloka and translation and go straight into the purport of text 5. So Sitali Mataji, you want to start? Text 1, 12th chapter. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So reading from chapter 12, text number 1. Oh, good timing. But you do text number 1. No. They'll have time to settle down. It'll be good. Yeah.
Arjuna Vacha Evam Satata Yuktaye Bhaktasvam Paryupasate Echapi Aksharam Avyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vittama. Arjuna inquired which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested?
Okay, so here is Arjuna's doubt. After seeing the universal form, he is having a doubt. Which is more important, the personal form or the impersonal form? Or the impersonal feature, rather. Impersonal can't be a form. But in Krishna, both are reconciled. Okay, so the doubt is there. Why the doubt is there? Why is there a doubt? Correct. So there's doubt because this universal form is very awe-inspiring. It's huge, it's big, it's gigantic, it's massive. So one may think, oh, maybe that's the supreme. Or they may think the impersonal form is supreme. The impersonal form, the impersonal feature. I keep saying form, but actually the Lord is both impersonal and form. He has a form and is formless also. So which of the two is better? Arjuna's question is to decide once and for all. So my question here is, why is this considered a contradiction? Form and formless. Why are they considered mutually exclusive? You understand my question? There are people who say God has a form, right? Then the Mayavadis say, but then you're limiting God. He has a form. So therefore he must be formless. But the devotees say, no, Lord has a form, and that is supreme. So why this contradiction is there? Or why this conflict is there?
He's the origin of everything.
Okay, one at a time. No, but I'm asking more basic. You are answering the question one step further. Okay, I'm asking why the conflict is there, why the confusion is there. What's the root cause of the confusion? Yeah, please. Your answer will come later. Why he personally is that Krishna will also answer. But I'm asking a little bit before that, one stage before that. Yeah.
So Prabhu, Lord has himself said that his original form is personal.
Yeah. Sorry. Again, you are also doing the same thing. You are giving the answer why personal form is supreme. That we'll discuss anyway. But I'm asking why the confusion is there. Why personal versus impersonalism? Why that confusion has come? Shrimaripur.
So, Prabhu, basically because the impersonalists, they cannot see the form of the Lord. They can only see the Brahmajyoti. They can only reach up to that level. So,
that is one. But I'm asking even more basic for a common man even. That is, Brahmavadis, they can go Brahmajyoti. You and I can't go Brahmajyoti, right? Most of Sydney can't go. So, even amongst us we have confusion. Even amongst the non-devotees there's confusion. Mayavadi is confusion. Why this confusion is there in the first place? What is leading to the confusion? Yes, Janardhan bro. With the microphone would be better. Yeah, keep one in the front, one in the back.
Prabhu, is it because the impersonalists limit the form to a human form? You know, they
okay.
Because they think that the form of the Lord is like a normal human form, but then the form of the Lord is actually transcendental.
True, that is true. But even before that, okay, let me, maybe I'm not asking the question the proper way. The real confusion is caused by our experience. Our experience in the material world, something has a form, something doesn't have a form. You can't have both together. Do you see something simultaneously which is a form and is formless? No, either a form or is formless. We have only two options, isn't it? Sun has a form. Sunlight has no form. Air has no form. Wind has no form. Water has no form. Don't take the broken one, take the other brown one, Mataji. That is the one we should really put it away somewhere. Maybe it is blunder. Publish it. They didn't. Not a good one. I think there are some more in that corner there. Some more. Yeah, I can take those. Please come here, bro. Thank you. Yeah. So the confusion is mainly because we are experiencing form or formless. And in our experience, form is limited. Whereas the formless aspect is unlimited. Sunshine is everywhere. But sun is limited. Okay, that much sun. Okay, not that much. It's quite big. But from our vision, that much sun is only here. So we, in our experience in the material world, form and formless are mutually exclusive. They don't stay together. Therefore the confusion comes, which is superior. Therefore Arjuna asked the question. Of course Arjuna has no doubt, but for our benefit he is asking the question. And as you rightly pointed out, that again the same material conception continues and says form means limited, formless means unlimited. Now the absolute truth, to be called absolute, must have both. If the absolute truth doesn't have formless aspect, that is wrong. The absolute truth has only a form, that is also wrong. You can't have only form or only formless. Absolute truth must have both. then only is complete. That point clear? And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this simultaneously one and different. Achintya Bheda Tattva, simultaneously one and different. Yes, Krishna has a form, Saguna, but he's also Nirguna. He doesn't have qualities. He is full of qualities, is no qualities. But those qualities are spiritual qualities, not material. That form is Satchitananda Vigraha, not material form. Therefore, you're not limiting him. But when you say God is only in the temple, that is limiting God. But also saying God is not in the temple, God is everywhere, not in the temple, that is also limiting God. So absolute truth means everything should be there in that. Form and formless simultaneously. Then only is absolute truth. So the Vaishnava understanding is clear, but you see where this is coming from? Our material experiences. Our experience in the material world has caused that. Okay, Arvind, ready? Text number 2.
Sri Bhagavanuvacha
Sri Bhagavanuvacha
Maya Veshamano Imam
Maya Veshamano Imam
Nityayukta Upasate
Nityayukta Upasate
Sraddhaya Para Yopetas
Sraddhaya Parayopetas
Te Me Yukta Tamamata
Teme Yukta Tamamata.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect.
Very good. Excellent. Okay. So here Krishna gives a clear answer that the personal form is most perfect. He gives his opinion. Okay. Let's go text number 3. Arvind is not finished yet. Keep going. 3 and 4 here.
Yetu aksharamanirdesyam
Yetu aksharam nirdesham
avyaktam paryupasate
avyaktam paryupasate
sarvatragama chindyam cha
sarvatramacintyam cha
kodastamachalam dhruvam.
kutastamachalam dhruvam. Okay, translation maybe Aditya can read the translation. Huh? Is that okay? You read the Sanskrit, you read the translation and you read that. Okay? I'm so sorry. Oh yeah, of course there's 4. I'm so sorry, Arvind. Yeah, sorry. I beg your pardon. 3 and 4 are together.
Samni amyendriyam gramam
Samni andrendriyam gramam
sarvatra samabuddhaya
sarvatra samabuddhaya
te prajnavandi mameva
te prabhuvanti mameva
sarvabhuta hiderada.
sarvabhuta hidera. Okay, Aditya.
But those who fully worship the unmanifested which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all pervading, inconceivable and changing, fixed and immutable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone. Such person engaged in the welfare of all that achieved me.
Very good, excellent, good. Both of you, Arvind, Aditya, good, well done. Alright, next time you read the translation, come beforehand, I'll ask you to recap, alright? At home you practice the English. Arvind knows the Sanskrit. Now Arvind, so here in 3 and 4, what has Krishna done? He he has compared and said, yes, eventually they'll come, but it's very difficult path. With great difficulty they might come, but it's not easy, that path of impersonal realization. Whereas a personal realization is much, bhakti is much easier. Okay, Arvind, text number 5. No playing, okay? You should now read, you're a big boy now. You're reading Bhagavad Gita.
Klesho digaradastesham
Klesho dikarastasham
avyakta sakta chetasam
Avyakta sadatachesasam
avyakta higadir dukkam
Avyakta hi gatir duktam
dehavad vapyate.
Any other children are missing? Is anybody else? No, no? Okay. Okay. Aditya. Want to try again?
For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very cumbersome. To make progress in the discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied.
Very good. Excellent. Alright. We were reading this last time. So Krishna has clearly described how the path of impersonalism is very troublesome, very difficult. And the purport last time we discussed, there are two types of yogis. What are two types of yogis Prabhupada describes? Gyan yogis and Bhakti yogis. So the Gyan yogis, they follow the path of inconceivable, unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Lord. They are more attracted to the impersonal feature of the Lord. Whereas the Bhakti yogis, they are in Krishna consciousness and they engage in devotional service of the Lord. So what are the common features between Gyan Yoga and Bhakti Yoga?
The goal is the same.
Yeah, the goal is the same, correct. Both have the same goal. How can the goal of both be the same?
Because they are always contemplate to reach.
Use the microphone.
Both Jnana Yogis and Bhakti Yogis' goal is to contemplate to the ultimate truth, absolute truth.
Very good. Very
Whereas
good.
the Bhakti Yogis go beyond that and deliver his service. He always endeavors to deliver his service to absolute truth.
Yeah.
Whereas the Jnana Yogi merges with
Yeah, his aim is to get to the Brahma Jyoti.
Brahman. Yes.
Yeah, very good. So both are trying to get away from the material world. That is common, isn't it? Both of them are not. Neither of them are trying to enjoy the material world. Both of them understand material world is a place of suffering. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Both have that conclusion, and they also realize that to be happy, I have to go beyond this material world. I have to transcend this material world. I have to go beyond that. So both of them are trying to control the senses. Both of them are trying to cultivate spiritual knowledge and make spiritual advancement. And as you rightly said, Senthil, that they also both of them are trying to approach the absolute truth. Though which aspect of absolute truth is different. The Jnani is after the Brahma Jyoti and the devotee is serving the Lord, personal form of the Lord, Bhagavan feature. But at least that is the common feature. Okay. Now, what are the other differences between Jnana and Bhakti that Prabhupada said in the purport? Very good. The path of Jnana is very troublesome. It's very difficult. It's not easy. Especially for those who are embodied. What does that mean for those who are embodied? The material bodies, yeah. Conditioning, yes. Because along the material body comes the conditioning. That conditioning makes it very difficult to connect to the impersonal Brahmajyoti. That's one aspect. The other aspect is also there is no attraction in the Brahmajyoti. Cultivation of Jnana, there is no attraction. So there is always a possibility of getting attracted back to the material world. That's why you see Vishwamitra does meditation for so long. And then Indra sends Menaka. She dances in front of him and his meditation is gone. He lost his meditation. It is difficult, isn't it? If it was so easy, then everyone would have done successfully. So the impersonal path is very difficult. Even Lord Shiva was meditating, and Bharat Parvati, she came and danced in front of him. He also got distracted. Of course, Lord Shiva, everything he does is transcendental. In that sense, we're not saying we can criticize him like that. But it just shows, Prabhupada gives example that he was also distracted. Even though that was part of the Lord's plan, still he was distracted. Fact is, he was distracted. Even Lord Brahma ran after his own daughter. So there is a distraction there also. Again, Prabhupada warns us, don't think less of Brahma and Shiva because of these events. We should rather see that they are such great personalities. If they can make a mistake, how careful we should be. It is only emphasizing our insignificance, not their fall down. We tend to think, oh, Brahma had a fall down. Alright. No, that is a wrong mentality. That is a mentality of the fault-finding mentality. Devotee should not cultivate a fault-finding mentality. So these points are being made here to show that path of Jnana is very difficult, especially in Kali Yuga, especially in the material world. It's very difficult when we are embodied. Whereas for a devotee, Prabhupada gives the example of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur also was tempted by Maya, tempted by that prostitute, beaten in 22 marketplaces. But none of those situations affected him. On the other hand, he was also worshipped by so many personalities. Lord Chaitanya personally came and gave him Mahaprasad. Good reason to be proud, isn't it? Lord comes to give me prasad personally. Wow. Am I not great? But he took that also and as the mercy of the Lord. Aditya, give them some color. Okay, either of you. Big brother takes responsibility. That's how my dad trained me. There are 4 brothers. Anyone does anything wrong, I'm the one who gets asked, why is this? I didn't do it. Doesn't matter. You're in charge. So Aditya, I can feel for you. You want some coloring pencil or something? We have got so many of those. You can give them. Give them some coloring. At the end of the class, I'll have beautiful coloring. No, let them do some coloring magic. It's okay. They'll do it. It's all right. Yeah. She is bringing it. Don't worry. You sit there. You remain there. Yeah. Okay. So, the path of bhakti is much more easier. And we have seen examples like Haridas Thakur, great personalities. They are able to show us that path of bhakti is more easy to follow, and anyone can take part in that. It's easy to start. Whereas path of Jnana is very difficult. Not everyone can do that. Okay, I think we had read through the purport halfway, I think, last time, no? Yeah, please.
Prabhu, we are talking about Gyan Yogis and the difference between Gyan Yogi and Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah.
Here. Why not Dhyan Yoga? Why Gyan Yoga and not Dhyan Yoga?
Yeah. See, Dhyan Yoga is also one of the paths. You're right. Krishna describes Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga in the Bhagavad Gita, and that's a bona fide system of yoga. Both are system of yoga that are bona fide. But generally, the Gyan and Dhyan are sort of clubbed together because they are on the similar. There's a lot of similarities in them, more similarities. Even though the goal of Dhyan is Paramatma, is a little more advanced than the Gyan. But still they fall into the similar category. There are a lot of similarities. So when you describe Gyan, it usually means that. Usually means one or the other. Sometimes they use interchangeably also. Even though there's a distinct difference, but still they are sometimes used interchangeably. Because these are, people see this as alternatives to Bhakti. But actually it's not an alternative. It is simply a stepping stone to encourage one to come to bhakti through other paths, because they are of their particular attraction. Someone attracted to a Paramatma form of the Lord, they are encouraged to follow the path of Dhyan. Or some people go to Dhyan Yoga for mystic powers, like a mystic yoga. They want some siddhis. So, whatever be the attraction, one comes with a different motivation. Even bhakti is like that. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukrutuna arjuna. One may come with any material motivation, but that material motivation is only a means to get in. Once they actually get to devotional service, then they get purified of that motivation. Whereas in the Gyan and Dhyan, the purification is very slow. No problem. Yeah, Jitendra Prabhu? Oh, Mother, you want to say something? Yeah.
Prabhu, in that case, can we say that Dhyan Yoga's basis is Bhakti, Gyan Yoga? Dhyan Yoga, because one gets knowledge, then he come to Dhyan Yoga?
Could be. It could be. It could be direct also. One can go to Dhyan also. But Dhyan Yoga starts with Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama. Those 8 steps are there. So if one starts with Yama, okay, don't smoke, don't drink, don't eat meat, that's the first Yama. The Niyama, take bath, be clean, be truthful, be kind to others, like that. Have positive thoughts. So these are the niyamas. And then once one has done these two, if you're doing the proper way, then one goes to asana. Because yoga club goes straight to asana. They don't care about yama niyama. That's what Prabhupada condemned them. He didn't condemn yoga, but the way they were teaching yoga commercially, just to get to the asana stage straight away and get some material benefits out of it, so they can don't have to follow rules and regulations. But if one follows that path, one will eventually come to samadhi, which is fixing the mind, absorbing the mind on consciousness on Paramatma. One can see Paramatma face to face. And then when you see Paramatma face to face, Paramatma then instruct you to engage in devotion service. Then you will come to bhakti anyway. So why not go to bhakti directly? That's why in the 6th chapter end, Krishna says, Yogina api sarvesham madgatanantaratmana Davan bhajate yamam samayuktatmata. It says Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. After the whole 6th chapter, it says Bhakti is topmost. Why couldn't you go there straight in the beginning? Is that okay? Yeah. So, Jitendra Prabhu.
You said that the aim of Jnana Yoga is the Brahma Jyoti, whereas for Bhakti Yoga it's Bhagavan. Is it possible for a Jnana Yogi to aim for Bhagavan, but only through the cultivation of knowledge? Because I've seen that Jnanis and even intellects like acquiring information and figuring things out for themselves, but they may still know what the ultimate goal is.
Okay. So that is called Jnana Mishrita Bhakti. There's the element of devotion there, but it is mixed with the Jnana. Jnana is the mental speculation. They still have speculative tendency. So that tendency, that's why devotees sometimes speculate. They don't know the answer, they'll speculate something. So that's the contamination, you can say, of bhakti. Bhakti gets contaminated by mental speculation. Similarly, there is Karamishita Bhakti. There are many who do bhakti because they want some material benefits out of it, not for pleasing the Lord. At least that started initially. That's what Chaturvida Bhajante Mam, Dhruva Maharaj and all, they came with different motivation.
So such persons who know what the ultimate goal is are still considered devotees, but mixed with Jnana. Is that correct?
Correct. Because they have an element of devotion. See, strictly following Jnana means you have to follow the process of neti. Not this. The way of eliminating. Because you are doing only mental speculation. There's no help allowed from devotees, or not allowed, but not considered. So if one gets help of a devotee and is still pursuing the path of Jnana, that means already his bhakti is started by association. So that from there on it is Jnana Mishrita Bhakti. But if he is not having the association of devotee, then he is trying on his own, then it becomes Jnana. And that takes Bahunam Janma Namante. That takes many lifetimes. Very difficult. Is that okay? Thank you. Okay. Sharmukh, you want to comment on that or something else? Yeah.
Prabhu, is there an object of worship in Dhyana Yoga? Is there like a would that person be worshipping an object? Would the person be worshipping a personality behind it?
Dhyana Yoga goes in 8 stages, right? So the first challenge for a Dhyana yogi is to withdraw the senses. That's why you see after asana, there's pranayama, control of breathing. So first objective of Dhyana yogi is sense control. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. All these 4 are sense control. Okay, so he doesn't know anything about the personal form or impersonal form of the Lord. No, he is only concerned with his body. He is not even gone beyond the body yet. Okay, the first 4. Then after that, there is pratyahara, withdrawing the senses. Still in the body only. So still trying to battle the material world. Still struggling in the material world. Okay. So after pratyahara, what comes? Dharana. Dharana means fixing the mind. So withdraw it and fix it. Okay. Then dhyan starts. Then samadhi. At that stage, one gets to know the Paramatma feature of the Lord. But that's very late. Right now, he's just trying to remove the influence of the material world, which is huge, because we have been contaminated for millions and zillions and trillions of lifetimes. It's not something that just came along and say, little bit spray something, gone. Tons and tons of contamination. So his main focus is that. Until he gets rid of that, there's no question of whether you want to go to personal or impersonal. That's out of the question even. So when the mind and sense are controlled, then he gets an idea of, oh, I'm meditating. He gets, because the Lord in Paramatma in the heart, he starts reciprocating. That's when one gets the idea, oh, that's what it's all about. But that's way far ahead. Beginning is just suffering the material world. Is thinking, if I don't follow the rules and regulations, I'm going to be suffering, so better let me stop this. That is his focus, to end the suffering. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, the happiness experienced by the yogis is simply absence of suffering. It's not real happiness. So, oh, there's no suffering, that's great. But are you feeling good? No, not really. But at least thank God I don't have suffering. So it's all based on absence of suffering rather than actual feeling of happiness. And in terms of realization, it is very slow, very long process. Come to pratyahara is not a joke. And then come to dharana is even more difficult. Shaubhari Muni went underwater to try that. He was so desperate. He went underwater. He said, okay, at least here nobody is going to disturb me. That is dhyan, for example. But because he had offended a devotee, he could not maintain his sense, control his senses. He offended Garuda. So he was not able to do it. Whereas Prabhupada says a new devotee also is able to control his senses because his senses are fully engaged in Krishna's service. That's why Prabhupada one time he said, it's not that I don't have lust, but just I have no time for it. Because one devotee said that, I have conquered lust. Prabhupada said, how can that be? What's wrong with you? How can you conquer lust so easily? Very difficult. So it's not surprising that it's still there. But if we keep ourselves absorbed, then one day we'll lose the taste for that. For the devotee it's natural, whereas for the other paths it's very difficult. Does that answer your question? Sharmukhi, you want to say something?
I've got 2 points.
Yeah.
The first one was I was listening to Bhurijan Prabhu's Narsingha Chaturdashi lecture in Melbourne, and he was saying whenever there is any Mishra, Karma Mishrata Bhakti, Jnana Mishrata, whenever there is Mishra, they will become miserable. Mishra and miserable.
Mishra is miserable.
So only Shuddha Bhakti will give you full satisfaction. That was one point. And the other one was when I used to go to this Vivekananda Yoga Society or something. There they used to teach us yoga. There in the theory classes they used to teach us Raja Yoga, Dhyana Yoga and all kinds of yoga. And they said you can choose whatever you like. You choose whichever you like and ultimately you will go to the same goal. But that's not the case. It's a ladder. The ultimate one is bhakti.
Yeah.
So I thought, I used to get very confused. They all kinds of yoga and take whichever you want and you'll finally go. That doesn't make sense. But it's so amazing how people get bewildered and still they're stuck there. They feel that's the ultimate. Everyone is exclusive.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, and that's why their philosophy is yathomat tatopat. It is very appealing. It's very cool. It's very politically correct. Because politically correct, people are attracted. Oh, these people are very liberal. Hare Krishna is too fanatic. Microphone next to you.
What's the difference between Dhyana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and Raja Yoga?
They are very, very similar. Hatha Yoga is another name for Ashtanga Yoga, another name for Dhyana Yoga. So it's just different names for it. Even though if you go to yoga school, they'll probably try to distinguish one from another. But as far as we can see, it's a combination of the 8 Ashtanga Yoga, one or more combinations or permutation combinations. Yeah.
In one of the yoga classes, they said that the definition of Hatha Yoga is to, even in Hindi, it's Hat Karna and Hatha. It's the same thing in Sanskrit, where you bring your body into the final position of that asana, and the final position of that asana. When you come into the final position, the body is really under stress, because normally when we usually sit like this, it's easy. But when you twist your body in different positions, it becomes hard. It's uncomfortable. In that uncomfortable position, finally you have to think of Lord Vishnu. That is the final goal of that asana. Because at the time of death, normally our body is not in a very normal condition to happily think of the Lord and leave. So it's in a difficult. So every asana is for you to think of Lord Vishnu in the final position of that. B.K.S. Iyengar, when he was asked, many of his disciples, they came and learnt under him for many years. And he didn't, to start with, say that finally you have to think of Lord Vishnu. He's an Iyengar, they are Vaishnavas. So finally then they asked, okay, we've learnt all that you have taught us. What else is there? He said, in the final position of every asana, you have to think of Lord Vishnu. So then, okay, that is the goal. It's not just for health. It's for thinking of the Lord. That is Hatha Yoga. Hatha. To do Hatha with the body.
Yeah, Raja means king of yoga. That's what, that's why one man came and told Prabhupada that Raj Yoga is the topmost yoga, because the king of all yogas. Why did Prabhupada say? Then Bhakti Yoga is Samrat Yoga, the emperor of all yoga. Emperor is superior to the king. Samrat means emperor. Emperor is higher than a king in the hierarchy. So if Raj Yoga is king of all yogas, okay, then Bhakti Yoga is Samrat Yoga. Though 9th chapter says Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitramidam Uttam is the king of education, king of all knowledge. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam, king of all secrets. But Prabhupada is never to be outdone. He always had the right answer, the right time, perfect timing. And many times devotees asked him, Prabhupada, how are you so spot on every time? Any question, anyone says everything. How is it you're absolutely to the point and correctly directs the person? He said, very simple. If you know Krishna, you know everything. That is the secret. If you know Krishna, you know everything. Just be Krishna conscious. Everything will come. Okay? So, yeah. Yeah, Ashtanga Yoga. He's explained that a few times. These are terms that are used by people actually. I don't know how much shastrically it's there. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has made very clear Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. These are the terms used by Krishna. Now Hatha Yoga and all, people might have used later on. Maybe, I don't know what Patanjali uses. He might use some of the names. But nevertheless, any yoga system, that's what I'm saying, it could be combinations of these sometimes. Some people start some other yoga. What is that? There is so many. Bikram Yoga is that Bikram founder, but there are also Sahaj Yoga and all. I've heard some Sahaj Yoga and all. It is more Sahajiya Yoga than Sahaj Yoga. It's all hodgepodge here and there. They mix and match and produce their own brand and say, this is our brand of yoga. So Bikram Yoga, they've got their own brand. They heat up the studios and make it 25, 30 degrees, and you sweat it out, and then you start. All the things are there. I mean, it's good. All glories to the exercise. You can do that. I'm not against it. But they rarely take you to the actual goal of yoga, which is what we are interested in. So, to get attached to the impersonal form is very difficult. But to attach to the personal form is very easy, because Prabhupada gives example of deities. That's the other point mentioned in the purport. That there is two forms of worship, Saguna and Nirguna. Saguna is the personal form of the Lord, and Nirguna is the impersonal form of the Lord. And Saguna is the personal form, can be accessed through worshipping the deity in the temple. So Krishna has very kindly come in the form of deity so that we can engage in his service. And so he appears in the form of wood, oil or paint. I think we read all that last time, no? And Prabhupada gives example that he distinguishes between deity and idol. What's the difference between deity and idol?
Deity is always in the sculpture form, also in the stone, made of stone.
And idol?
Idol is, can be metal, five like pancha.
No, that's not idol. That's also deity. Yeah.
I think because that deities never die.
Yeah, that's right.
Real.
Okay. Ravishankar.
I believe in the deity form there's a prana pratishtha is being done.
Yeah. Even if prana pratishtha is not done, still the deity is still deity. Our deities, we don't have prana pratishtha, they're still deities. Of course, prana pratishtha makes them personal, but even then, otherwise, they're still. Yeah, Jitendra?
Is it that the deities have an authorized form according to Shastra,
Correct.
whereas idols can be made according to one's
Idol is
imagination?
imaginary form.
Imagination.
Yeah. Simalipur, what was your answer?
I was saying that we can approach the Lord through the deities.
Correct.
We may not be able to approach the Lord
Correct.
through
That's the
idols.
example Prabhupada gives here. Reciprocation. That just like a mailbox. If you put a letter in a mailbox, it will go to the destination. But if you put in any box, it will not go to the destination. So similarly, if you offer deity to the deity or a service, that service goes to Krishna. But if you offer to any other form, that is not considered bona fide. It will not go to Krishna. So 2 points. One is the deity is authorized form, idol is not. Idol is imaginary form. And secondly, it's authorized, and then any service offered to the deity will go to Krishna, whereas to the idol it's not going to anyone. So the Christians, in order to condemn our culture, Indian Vedic culture, they classified a deity worship as idol worship and said you are worshipping idols. And our Bible says, thou shalt not worship graven images. And that is their main confusion. That's why you see all these door knocking Christians, they come to our door, Jehovah's Witness and all, they all say, oh, you're worshipping idols. This is very bad. Same with the Muslims also. They can't understand our deity form. They think it's all idol worship. So that's why they worship only impersonal. Allah is impersonal. Though they say Allah is He, but then they're confused. How can He be He then? They're just very confused because they can't understand the personal form of the Lord. But though the Quran does have references to the personal form of the Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his discussion with Chand Kazi, he reveals that actually according to the Quran you should not kill the cow. According to the Quran, Allah is a person and He accepts service from the devotees. When you serve Him, He accepts the service and He reciprocates to the devotees. But the mullahs, the priests, they nearly avoid that part of the Quran. They keep it aside and say, oh, that's not for you, not for us. You focus on the impersonal. That's why they look at a blank wall but still they point towards Mecca. Then if everything is impersonal, why should you point towards Mecca? I really don't know. Something is there, that means there's a form. The moment you say Mecca, that means it becomes a form. How it can be formless? If it was formless, you could go in any direction. Why only towards Mecca? So there is direction, there is form. To be 100% impersonal is not possible. Vipassana yoga, they teach another yoga. They teach empty your mind. How can you empty your mind? The thought of emptying the mind is also a thought. Therefore, you cannot never empty the mind. What they are really trying to get at is, take out the nonsense from your mind. That's alright. There's so much garbage in the mind, take it out. That's alright. But you can never empty the mind. It's not possible. Okay. So the deity form of the Lord is a convenient for man. In Prabhupada says, the Lord is omnipotent, all-powerful. Therefore, by his incarnation as Archa Vigraha, he can accept the service of the devotee just to make it convenient for the man in conditioned life. But this does not mean, unquote, that is a quote, so this is unquote. That does not mean that the deity form of the Lord is not bona fide, it's not authorized. If you worship the deity form of the Lord still accepts service as good as serving him personally. There's no difference. Deity is non-different from the Lord. Whether Pran Pratishtha is done or not does not matter. As long as it conforms to the bona fide form of the Lord, that is fine. Pran Pratishtha, all it does is makes it formal, makes a formal arrangement that now the deity will come and we are offering the service. So tomorrow we are celebrating Radha Gopinath's 43rd anniversary of Radha Gopinath coming to Sydney. So the Lord has come. Radha Gopinath, they both arrived with Prabhupada. And when the Lord has come, then the devotees are ready to serve him. That's the service, to accept the service. Okay, so Ravi Prabhu, you can read from the next paragraph. Oh, you got a question? Okay. After that you can start.
So the difference between deity and idol you explained. So my question is, now many devotees have the Salagram Shila.
Yeah.
So can that be classified as a deity?
Yes. Yes, definitely. Shaligram is deities. They are self-manifest deities. No one has carved them, but their deity is manifest himself through the rock.
Even though it doesn't have the shape of Lord Krishna.
He has the features, but you have to have the eyes to see them. That's why in Shaligrams many times they put the eyes, they emphasize the eyes. Eyes are already there, but they put some extra decoration on them so they can actually see it. We had gone to our temple, no? Koppuru temple in Karnataka. There's a very ancient temple in Karnataka, a place called Koppuru, small village. In that temple, the deity is manifest in the tree, the bark of the tree. In Raichur district. I think your mom will know. Dad will know. And when you look inside there, in that they made a little mantapa and little altar for that. You look inside, you can't see the deity form. But then they put eyes on him, and they put, wherever the eyes are there, they retrace the eyes, they put shining material, metal and all that, they put silver and all, they put silver, basically silver. And then the deity becomes more manifest, then you can see him. Otherwise it's very hard to see in with our eyes from far. Sharmuki, you want to say something? So that Narasimhadev appearance of that form is actually mentioned in the Puranas. They actually quoted Skanda Purana and few other Puranas where actually the deity is appearing in Kali Yuga for the devotees is actually mentioned there. So the Lord can appear in different forms like that. So Shaligram is another example where the Lord has appeared in the form of a stone. For Gopal Bhatta Goswami, right? He was worshipping Shaligram. And he was saying, oh, but I can't dress you. I can feed you, but I can't dress you. So please. He became manifest as? Huh? Yeah. He came Radharaman, yeah. Yeah, he came as Radharaman. So that he manifested into deity form, so he could dress him. That's on the desire of the devotees. But Shaligram also devotees can do service. How many service can be done?
So what is an idol then?
So
you
idol is imaginary form that does not exist. Is not bona fide. You can make up something. This Nokia phone is the idol. You worship that. Or anything other than the bona fide form is idol. And that also happens. There are people who worship idols. They make up some forms of the Lord and worship.
like a stone or something.
Like some stone or some tree or something which is not really bona fide. Though the Lord can appear in the bark of a tree in that example, Kopra Narsimha appeared there. So certainly the Lord can appear, but it may not be the Lord, bona fide form of the Lord. It may be just something they concocted. Anything that's not according to Shastra is concocted, and that is idol worship. So when the Christians worship Mother Mary in the church, we don't say, oh, you're doing idol worship. That's Mother Mary and Jesus. They have deities in their church also. So they do have personal concept of God, but then they have got carried away by the impersonal aspects. So most of them end up becoming impersonalists. Even though the Christianity does, Prabhupada says it teaches personalism, personal form of the Lord. But they are not able to understand how the personal God can be a person. They can't understand that because they don't have the understanding that Prabhupada has given us. Okay?
So our Radha Gopinath is a deity because Prabhupada has and installed. So that's
even in any temple, as long as the deity is carved according to the standards of Shilpa Shastra, according to the scripture, deity only, it's not considered idol. That's deity. Any temple for matter. Though what standards of worship they have and how they're worshipping, that all may be different. But they're not, that doesn't make them idols. Idol is something that's not bona fide. See, one time the devotees were traveling, I think it must have been South India with Prabhupada, and devotees showing Prabhupada sees so many temples here, and what about these temples? Similar question. And Prabhupada said, what about them? What do you mean, what about them? What's the question? He said, who is worshipping them now? They are all closed down. Nobody is there to worship them. They are neglected. And Prabhupada said, don't think that because you are not worshipping the deity, the deities are not receiving worship. The demigods are always ready to worship them. They come down and worship the deities and go. The demigods come, they come, Brahma, Shiva, Narada, they come, the rishis, they come and do service. We can't see them. They accept the offerings to them and they carry on. But it is our loss that we are not worshipping them. So then Vigraha becomes Nigraha. There's another word used, Nigraha. Nigraha means neglect of deity. That becomes inauspiciousness. It has happened in India also. So many cities or towns or villages where the deity was used to be worshipped regularly every day. Then they brought down to weekly. Then weekly they brought down to monthly. Then finally they made it only for main festivals. Then finally they brought down to once a year, Janmashtami they'll do. That's it. And then 1 year they forgot that also. And after that the whole village was affected by cholera or some epidemic and the whole village got wiped out. But deity is still there. So Prabhupada says, don't think that if you are not worshipping deity, the deities are starving or deities are suffering. No, they'll get worship from the demigods. They'll come and do the worship. But for us it is bad if we don't worship deity properly. So if you have deities, then we should worship properly. That's why for Grihastha we recommend you have picture on your altar. Unless a spiritual master tells you, no, I want you to worship deity, then you have special instruction, then you follow that. But normally we don't, our acharyas and Prabhupada didn't encourage devotees to have deities at home, unless there are strong reasons to increase the preaching. Then it's good to have deities at home. Because for the family, of course, it benefits, but if we get too focused on deity worship at home, then we don't worship Radha Gopinath, then we are missing the point again. Radha Gopinath is for whole Sydney. Prabhupada established Radha Gopinath for Sydney. So it's for everyone. That they are there to receive our worship. So our focus has to be Radha Gopinath. The temple is the focus. And our home deities are there just to support Radha Gopinath's service, not as an alternative to Radha Gopinath's service. So even amongst devotees this confusion is there. I see sometimes devotees have deities at home and they are so elaborate worship they do that they have no time to even visit Radha Gopinath. Even for darshan they can't come. So they are getting distracted. For Sydney, very clearly Radha Gopinath is the presiding deity. That Prabhupada was always made very clear. Radha Gopinath are the presiding deities, and everyone works under their shelter. So we can have preaching centers and all that, that's fine, but then all that is based on Radha Gopinath's service. That's why Prabhupada established temples. And then. Yeah, they're not idols. The stuffed dolls for children is very nice to play with toys because they like a toy, they'll play with it initially, but eventually they'll lead to bhakti. So in that sense, that's good for children. But at the same time, we can't put on altar and start worshipping them just like, because children are not very clean, so you can expect the standard should not be so high. Similarly, there are small beads for children, japa beads. Never put in the mouth or something. You don't give them tulsi because they'll commit offenses. So something to imitate the parents, that way they start learning. So in that sense, those dolls are helpful. And if the dolls help the child become Krishna conscious, then it is very nice. I think Sharmukhi knows some examples of children who are very attached to their own little dolls. And they worship them very nicely, look after them, put them to bed, feed them. So that whole thing, it starts as a play, but then gradually they will develop real bhakti. Then they can do it properly. And to what extent the deity is manifest, the Lord is manifested in those toys, it depends on the devotion. If a child is very Krishna conscious, the Lord is present as good as a deity. If a child is just playing around and throwing the doll around, then the deity form won't be there in that. So the Lord becomes present according to the bhakti of the child. So you can't say, there is a big controversy in Brisbane, I know. That's where this thing come from. So they had whole Ishtagoshti on this. Last time I went, they had a whole Ishtagoshti on this. Or to be or not to be, should we or should we not? If they are deities, then why children are playing with it and putting the foot on them and all? Children are children, they don't know. Then if they're not deities, then is it idol worship? No, it's neither actually. The fact is, if the child has developed the devotion, then that devotion becomes a training ground, and the doll becomes a deity. When the child is neglectful and not understanding, that becomes a doll for the child. Like even coloring now, they may not be coloring properly, and they may step on the coloring. All the children sometimes they do that, but that's not right. But then for the child, it's a piece of paper. But for the devotee, that's Lord Krishna, that's Lord Ramchandra, that is Lord Narasimha. So it depends. It's like you are doing Narasimha role. So if someone pays obeisance to you, they are offering it goes to Lord Narasimha. They may not know it's Sarvatirtha standing there as Narasimha. But if someone offer obeisances to Lord Narasimha has appeared. In India they do actually, in villages. The Lord appears on the stage. I'm sure in Nepal also they do. The Lord actually comes on the stage, and the actor is acting, but as soon as he comes, people pay obeisances. They say, the Lord has appeared. And that is nice. So even though that actor might be so and so, but for the devotee, he is the Lord. They should do puja and all. So, yeah. So if they are thinking of N.T. Ramarao, it's not deity worship. But if they are thinking of the Lord, then it's deity worship. The Lord, according to the Lord, reciprocates. No? How you offer the service, the Lord reciprocates. Yes, Prabhu. Sorry for a long time.
Prabhu, I have a question. Like, I'm having a debate with one of my friends regarding this. What's the difference between our temple and the temple which is the Sri temple in Auburn? And I'm trying to convince him that we got Prabhupada, we got the Guru Parampara, and the deity, the worship which we do here according to Shastras and everything. But I couldn't give like a conclusive or convincing answer to him. So if you could add some more points, thank you.
Yeah. See, ultimately you can argue on so many angles. That's very difficult. You tell him one simple thing. You come to our temple for 6 months and see the difference. The proof of the pudding is in eating. When the arguments don't pass, people don't understand. All the points you made are valid. But if they don't accept or they don't understand, it's alright. Don't take my word for it. 6 months you come here and worship Radha Gopinath and see what happens.
I'm actually trying on the same. I said he actually chants 16 rounds and everything.
Wow, that's great.
So I said, unless and until you do service, you will not have have the taste of it. So I thought you should start doing the Vaishnava service, which will enhance your bhakti, and that path will be more clear for you. So that I'm actually encouraging to come to temple and participate in our congregation, but I'll probably use the same words what you use.
Prabhupada ultimately says even devotion service has to be under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, or his representatives. So we have to have some Shiksha Guru who's guiding us. So he needs to take guidance. In the beginning you can cherry pick and say, I'll do chanting, or I'll only do Kirtana, only do Bhagavatam. But at the end of the day we have to do what Krishna wants. Otherwise it becomes a very lopsided understanding. Like last time we were discussing, someone says, oh, just read Bhagavatam, everything will happen. Krishna didn't say like that. Krishna didn't say like that. He told Arjuna, you fight. Put the Bhagavatam aside, now you fight. Bhagavatam says you should fight, so you should fight now. After reading Bhagavad Gita, you should come to action, not to inaction. Though sometimes, but we have to do both. In our case, Prabhupada said books are the basis. So we have to read the books. Similarly, service, temple service. So if he is taking guidance from you, that's very good. You guide him like that. Only reading the books is not going to give the knowledge. At the same time, neglecting the books is not going to give the knowledge. So the service is what makes us humble, creates the right atmosphere. So one service complements the other. So for example, if you chant nicely, you feel like reading. You get interested in hearing Gita and Bhagavat. And if you read nicely, you'll feel like chanting better. Similarly, do service to the devotees, service to the Lord, do service in the temple, have darshan of Radha Gopinath. You get inspired to chant. You get inspired to do kirtan. And kirtan inspires you to do japa. Japa inspires you to read. Read us. Everything just complements each other. Association. So all that is possible in the association of devotees. As long as you maintain a rebellious attitude, I know better, that mentality comes, then it's very difficult to do. Even bhakti you can't do properly. We will make some progress, but we will not get any tangible results. As soon as you start thinking, I know better. And especially, not only I know better, but you also start seeing faults in the Shiksha Guru. This person like that person like that. Then it becomes very, very difficult. Because those faults may be real, but still we have to take guidance. Because we find faults to justify why I should not take guidance. I told you, that's why I should not take guidance. This person is like that, this person is like that. And that's just a false ego. We are using a false ego to justify why you want to be rebellious. And we have come here because we are rebellious. Now after coming to ISKCON, again you want to be rebellious. What's the point? What have you learned then? The whole idea is to be submissive. And now I have become more rebellious. The little knowledge I've got, I've made me become more rebellious now. Because I think I figured it all out. I hear the same thing in the class, I don't have to come. The same old thing. So that's why the attitude is very important. Prabhupada stresses on attitude. Advancement in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada said, depends on the attitude of the devotee. So the attitude is this, submissive attitude. So that's why if he's taking guidance from you, that's very good. If you want, you can introduce him to other senior devotees who are available. Maybe you can take, if you feel you are too friendly to him to guide him, maybe sometimes, equals you can't really give much guidance. But if he is willingly taking guidance, then go for it, continue. If he has become too familiar, then introduce him to another senior devotee who can further guide him. You can take guidance from that person. Or you can do it together, jointly. That's what a Bhakti system does. Bhakti leader is guiding the Bhakti members. But the leader is meant to take guidance from his seniors. And together they guide the devotees. Not that this Bhakti belongs to me, it's my property, I'll do what I want with it. That's not the mood of Bhakti. Though sometimes leaders become very proprietary over their Bhakti Vriksha. They think this is my group, my members, my this thing, my property. And that is again the lording mentality. Back to demoniac, 16th chapter, divine and demoniac. Ishwara aham bhogi, I am the controller. So starts with bhakti in the initial stage is very easy to be submissive because we don't have much, we realize how insignificant we are. But in the course of bhakti, because of the benefits of bhakti we get, like knowledge and you get wealth, you get name and fame and so many things you might get. That makes us proud again. And then you forget that. So always under guidance. So if he follows under guidance and he tries it out at least for 6 months, Prabhupada says you try it for 6 months and you see the difference.
Prabhu, there is one more question from Shefali Mataji. She says, is Mother Mary in church an idol or deity?
That's a deity form.
Okay.
That's deity. We don't call it idols. Yeah. Yes, Vidya Mataji.
To add up with
Prabhu's question. I feel the difference between the other temples and our temples is like other temples the worship is more of the business attitude, whereas in our temple it is more of service attitude. And
Sure.
I feel it is more happier bhakti here than the other temples.
Sure, sure.
Other temples is very serious. You go and pay obeisance, do some mantras and ask Lord, give me that. Whereas here I feel most of the devotees are more of service attitude
Very good.
rather than getting benefits from God.
True. Yeah, but you see, all these things you can say, it's on based on your experience, So my point is this: you can give so many. I'm sure if you go around the room, everybody will have something to say, I like the prasadam, or I like the deities, I like the kirtan, I like this, I like that. And surely, like Bhaktivinoda Maharaj did in that hall program, like Tungabi Hall, he went around asking everyone. They gave so many ideas what they found inspiring, and that's true. You can, and Prabhu has already been saying that. But now the person is still not accepting, means you have to eventually bring him to the point where it's okay, you would come and give it a try. What do you lose? We're not asking for money. We're not asking for a big investment. You come and try. 6 months you come here, follow the process sincerely, take the medicine as recommended by the doctor, and see the disease is going or not. And you yourself will realize it. We don't have to tell you anything. And that speaks louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. So let them try it out. This is the best thing. Oh, those are harder ones. Those cases are different. Ex-member means, they got burnt out by something, or they had some bad experience and they left. Oh, rebellious, okay. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes people leave with bad experience, that's hard to bring them back. That's why devotee care is so important. So our Bhakti Vriksha is very much focused on the leader taking care of the members. And if he is not able to handle, then he should go to the senior devotee and say, look, I'm not able to handle this situation. Can you take care of this? And not try to handle himself and make a mess of it. So that's all part of training.
The point that Mataji mentioned, I guess it's a very difficult thing, say for us as a group. We like to go to Radha Gopinath's temple, we get that feeling. But then if you put the argument to say I become someone else, I can also say that look, I go somewhere else and I get the other feeling. So it's sort of a perception thing. Like for us, yes, we are devotees, we are getting that association and we come to Radha Gopinath's temple. So again,
so you're saying it's perception.
That can be argued as a perception. Okay. And I don't know how we can.
Okay, let me respond to that. See, now you're getting down to the question of what is spiritual advancement. Perception is one thing, but we have to have some yardstick by which we agree this is spiritual advancement, right? So one may say, I feel good going to the pub. Let's say someone says, I feel really good, relaxed in the pub, drink and meet friends, and it's a very wonderful atmosphere. I love it. Suppose somebody says that. Now, is that spiritual advancement? Is that the same as going to a temple? Is that the same happiness?
No, for us it's not.
No, but I'm just saying, even perception is also there. You try to understand what is the difference. So it's not just perception, because if it is purely perception, then anyone could do anything and it'll be all right. And that's not the case.
No, Prabhu, yes. So we can explain to them that way. Yes, look, the scriptures are prohibiting all these things.
No, scripture. Don't even have to go to scripture. That's what I'm saying. Our criteria is which process is giving us spiritual advancement. For that, we have to first define what is the criteria for spiritual advancement. See, for us, our motivation initially starts with our understanding that life has a higher purpose. Human life has a higher purpose. Not just eating, sleeping and enjoying your senses. There's something higher than that. Therefore, what is the higher purpose? Find out first. That's called Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Who am I? Why am I suffering in this world? What is the higher purpose of life? So if you don't come to that level, there's no question of making spiritual advancement. Someone feels that I'm very happy with what I'm doing, I'm happy with my life. For them, it's very difficult to understand. Of course, Prabhupada, out of his compassion, he told them, what do you mean you're happy? It's like a goat standing in a queue to be slaughtered. You're going to die one day. How can you be happy? Human life is going to finish. You're going to lose this human opportunity. That's not wise to live in ignorance and die in ignorance. Human life has got a higher purpose. So by his association, by his instruction, they were able to, at least those honest, they were able to appreciate the point. And they are able to take up devotional service. So they can argue its perception, that's alright, but it's your life you're risking. So he has to think of his own life. What is he doing to his life? If he feels that that's the best way to go, then go for it. But then do you know what is the purpose of human life then? Is just to take birth, try to enjoy and then suffer and then leave? Is that the purpose of life, or is there a higher purpose? So that requires little intelligence. So like I said to Nand Gokul Prabhu, tell that person, give it a try and see how you feel a difference. I can explain so many things to you about the taste of honey by licking the bottle, but you're not going to get the real taste. Real taste comes from opening the bottle, taking a spoon of honey after offering to Krishna.
Yeah, Prabhu. The point is that it's very difficult to convince those
No,
people.
by argument you can't.
Like there are so many cases which are in my knowledge that yes, the person is born in a good family, they lead a good life, but suddenly they say they become meat eaters, and they say that look, I'm getting a better taste. So how is it that you get to convince? Because
so the Kali Yuga people are not so intelligent. And even if you convince them, they won't accept. Kali Yuga people are not so intelligent. That's the proper recommended prasadam. Give them prasadam. You can argue up to a point, but if they're being stubborn against it, they're saying meat eating is good, that means they're really back in the Stone Age. They really don't know what they're talking about. They're really in ignorance. I mean, you look at it from an economic point of view, from a physiological point of view, a spiritual point of view, religious point of view, any point of view, it's bad. You just can't justify it. There's no way you can justify it. If someone is trying to justify that, that means they're very ignorant, extremely ignorant. Extremely ignorant. So for them it's good to give prasad and they get attached to prasad. When I was working in Melbourne, I worked for one company, 15 years I worked for Shell. So I got to know the staff well, they got to know me well. So I know them so well that I knew who likes what. So I actually named them Spinach Pie Das and Halwa Dasi and Kheer Dasi, and I knew what each one liked. Samosa Das. So I used to bring special things for them, and you like samosas? Here you go. Oh yeah. that way they eat prasad. And every year we had Christmas lunch, it would be always in Gopal's. The whole entire department would come, 30 people or 40 people. All of us would have lunch, Christmas lunch at Gopal's. So that way they appreciate Krishna consciousness. And some of them start reading, and some of them become devotees also. They start reading the books and they start getting interested. But if they feel that you're trying to force it on them or preach to them and push something and trying to convert them, then they'll rebel. So they have to usually come and ask you, oh, Janardhan, how is you so happy and blissful? How come? What's your secret? And you say, oh yeah, Chant Hare Krishna. Then you can talk about different things. Depends on what aspects they like. So for most people, Prabhupada said prasadam. See, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he delivered so many personalities, right, practically the whole universe, how many people did he have actual philosophical discussion and debate with? How many people did he do that with? Very few. Sarvam Bhattacharya, Prakashananda Saraswati, you can handpick, you can count on the fingers of your hand. Most people didn't do that. Because we knew people are not qualified to philosophically debate, and even if you convince them, they don't accept. So what's the point getting debating more? Of course, not saying devotees should not debate. Debate is healthy. It provides done properly with the proper outcome. If it only makes people unpleasant and unfavorable to Krishna consciousness, what's the point of it? So we have to see what the objective is. So rather than that, call them temple. If they like going to temple, invite them to the temple. If they don't like that, then give them prasadam, give them books. They like to read, then give them books to read. Prabhupada said communism was spread in India by literature. So we should also spread Krishna consciousness by literature. By distributing the books. Okay? Today is a discussion day. Very good. No, it's nice. I mean, I hope it's nice. I'm enjoying it. I hope you all like it as well.
For one point on the previous discussion, I remembered what Uttama Shloka Prabhu had said as to how when people come to Krishna consciousness, they don't know anything, so they are dependent on you, so they are full of awe and reverence, and they'll almost worship you. So that is the dependent stage. And after that, they've been coming for a while and they've learned and got a lot of knowledge. Then slowly the independent streak in them comes. So then they'll start becoming independent. And then they'll think, oh, I know as much as you are, or even maybe more than you. I'm even reading more special books than you, what you have not taught me. Then he said, slowly they'll go on that track for a long time, which includes me also, probably all of us. And then we'll come to the stage where we become interdependent. So that time all are mature. So that interdependent stage is very relishable. And that is where we all make spiritual advancement. So that is what Maharaj was telling. That is the cooperation stage, where the interdependent stage is the cooperating stage. The independent stage is that competitive stage. So here we've got all Bhakti Vriksha leaders mostly. So I just want to share one small thing with all of you, because I've gone through that. I'm telling you so that when something like that happens to you all, you will know, oh, this is what is happening, so let me not lose my composure. So at the dependent stage, when they are being very adoring you and worshipping you, they'll put you on a pedestal, like they'll put you on a throne, and they'll almost worship you. So don't fall for that. Don't take it all in. This is really very nice, very nice. Not like what Prabhupada says, that anxiety to have that satisfaction of being honored. So that is very satisfying. But when they start becoming independent, you'll be sitting next to them and they'll look through you as if you're transparent. And you feel, just last month they were, oh, Mataji. And this time, then I used to tell Prabhu, oh my God, I don't know, how should I react to that? He said, when they put you on the throne, what did you do? I took it all in. He said, that's where you made the mistake. So next time, what should you do? I said, oh, Ma, I won't sit on the throne. So don't do that. And if you don't sit on the throne, when they give you the throne, when they push you off, you won't feel bad. And let me tell you, it's very hard. It's very hard. It's easier said than done. When they say, Mataji, Prabhu, it's very nice. Like a balloon, you start going off like that. When that pinprick comes, oh my God, it's really very hurting. It's like having a wound, emotional wound. So I'm just suggesting to all of you, because you are Bhakti Vriksha leaders. So when you see all that adoration coming, but as soon as you see adoration coming, you shouldn't think, oh my God, next moment the pin is going to come, so let me not take this in. But you should be equipoised. Take that love and affection, because they are still in the budding stage. So if you just take it off, oh my God, next you're going to pick me, I don't want this, then they lose faith. So you should be equipoised. Say, Krishna, you please take this. And when the pin comes, okay. And later on, when the interdependent stage comes, fantastic. So yeah, I just thought maturity. I will.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, that's a mature stage. Very true. Yep, good realizations. Thank you.
I have a question.
Question also. You also got it influenced.
This was yesterday in Bhakti Vriksha for us. Generally, we talk about sufferings. So material world full of sufferings, and we have to go back to spiritual world. That's the aim of life. We have to go back to Krishna and what we have to do. So even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna in 8.15, he says this dukkhalena ashasvadam. So question came as why is Krishna created a miserable world? So ultimately, Krishna only created, but why did he create us? So is he a sadist?
Okay. So who would like to answer that? Janardhan is ready.
Prabhu, I think we've discussed this before. Like even in this material world, we've got jail, where the criminals are reformed. So this is a material. This is like a jail where the human beings get a chance to reform themselves and then go back to Godhead. That is why this is miserable. Like a jail is actually a miserable place. So, but then they get reformed there, and then they go back. Are they?
Yeah. Okay, give us another mic. And then we'll chat. You keep it. You go on. You make your point.
Yeah, the point is even this prison cell is there. In fact, in the passage clearly says. Hello. Yeah. So in prison cell, it's like whatever a prisoner, what happiness he will be see and what outside what is the happiness. That comparison is already there. But question is, because Krishna only made this world, okay, why did he make it first himself? And he has himself said that this is a Dukkalayam. Why did he make it?
So that's already there. So why are they not accepting that answer then? No, wait, let him finish. Yeah. My confusion is now the answer Janardhan gave. You said is already in the passage, right?
Yes.
So they must have read that, understood that. The question is answered then.
No, they say, like, for instance,
where the question of sadistic comes.
Here comes because he is comparing with some Muslim friend of his. He says there he says God forgives and other things they do and all, but why for God has created very suffering life for us?
What is their explanation then?
No, he didn't explain, but we couldn't have much time.
Yeah, but you see that's it's already answered. No, it's saying it's reforming. Okay, Kalamataji. Yeah.
Hello, Hare Krishna. Prabhu, probably maybe, Krishna didn't create the miserable world. Probably it's all because of our karma that we are having the miserable.
Correct.
Because what we did in the past. It's not that Krishna created the miserable world. World is, he didn't create any misery for anybody or any...
Correct. Krishna as Paramatma doesn't take part in the happiness or the suffering of the living entity. It's by our own karma that we do that.
Yeah, we already told it's a free will. Because of your free will, you are acting the modes of material nature act. But those things yet to come. So.
But Krishna has also given happiness to people. It's not only given only suffering. Right? When you're enjoying, you don't think of Krishna. When you're suffering, you blame Krishna.
The point came is because Krishna himself has said Dukkalayam. So that means he himself, why he
has created. Yes, that is true. Anyway, we are looking for more answers. I'll give the answer at the end. Yes, Santil Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. My understanding is, like when a similar, I'm giving a anecdote here. A potter, when he makes a pot, he needs the wheel and the mud, and he himself is a Karanagartha. So without mud and the wheel or the composition of that, he can't make a pot.
Correct.
Like that, in God's pastime, he that's what he created. He needs everything, the miseries and happiness. Then only it is one of his pastime. Maybe I don't know. It's a pastime, but I couldn't explain you properly. But one of the lectures I heard, so that could be a part of that one. The miseries is part of that one.
So that's part of the creation.
Because when you even make a gold ornament, only with gold you can't make an ornament. We need to mix something. Like when you want to make a pot, it's not completely in a particular composition. You have to mix with something. Then only you are able to make a pot. It comes in a beautiful way. You can give a beauty.
Okay.
So maybe the universe needs that kind of.
It's part of the ingredients of the creation.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what my understanding is.
Okay. Manibhushan and then Ruchika.
I know one example which was really acceptable. Krishna Prabhu, when he was taking a Bhakti Sastri, Krishna Prabhu who gave us an example. This could be a little bit acceptable, which we accepted as like there's a father who has a son, and son when he grows he wants to be independent. I'm not giving in detail, but he wants to be independent. So it's according to free will. So father loves his son, but son wants to go away from the father. So father let him go. And then what happens? He goes somewhere in the city. So father creates the city the way the son has to be, what he wants, whatever he likes, dislikes. So then father also makes attempt his relatives like demigods. Okay, give him this, give him that, whatever, take care of my son. And it's like a free will. This is an example which Krishna Prabhu gave. Then at times father also goes and sees his son whether he's okay or not. Like at certain point, when the son remembers father, something dukha, like you're saying that there are some miseries coming, then only he remembers his father, the son. The son, if he's into miserable, so then he remembers his father. Then he comes back to father. So this is one example, like he remembers his father, then only he comes up. This is one example what Krishna Prabhu gave. So in detail I couldn't say, but he gave it's like a 15-20 minutes story he told us, and that is really good. I mean, we can just explain that.
So your point is that a father, as a part of bringing up the child, may discipline the child which the child doesn't like, and he may also give care and concern. Is that a summary of what he said, right? So that may appear to be good and bad, happiness and distress, like that. Okay.
No, in fact, this similar type of answer was given only the topic of sadisty, and you are arguing the people suffering, so then you need to say then you want to come back. That means the sadist approach you. So in fact, when similar type of answer is given, he was saying that it's more like a sadist.
Okay. All right, Ruchika, what is your answer?
My answer was similar to hers, that Krishna wants the living entities to come back to the spiritual world. That's why this world is made miserable. Otherwise, why would I want to go back if this world is so good?
Very good. Yeah. What do you think of that?
No, that's the point we are making. We are saying that we made this world for us to suffer. That means he is sadist, so you suffer here and then come back to you. But the sadist.
Otherwise, लातों की भूत बातों से नहीं मानते. How do you translate that? Devil of the kicks. Anyway, Jitendra wants to say something, and then Sita Lila next. Yeah. Huh? I didn't understand. Sorry, translation. How do you translate this? Huh? Yeah, those who don't listen to good words sometimes may need a kick, Those who don't heed good advice, they need a kick sometimes. So they need a suffering to impress us to come back to Krishna.
I just have a question. I don't understand the question. If he was already told that the material world is a prison, and a prison is a place where people suffer, and also a place of reformation. What's the question?
Why is the material world made into a suffering place?
Okay,
because it's a prison and people suffer in prisons.
Okay, yeah, that's already been covered. The prison point. Yeah, it makes sense too.
And they're reformed in the process.
Yeah, ask him to read it again. Read that part again. Anybody else has any other comments? Sita Lila Mataji. Yeah.
As what Manibhushita mentioned about prodigal son, basically, so it's the same thing what Ruchika also mentioned. So
okay.
The same thing, like how father actually trains the child and gives a proper training, but at the same time when the child grows at a certain age, he wants to go away from the father and wants to enjoy the other world. He wants to actually experience the negative part of the world, but father doesn't want the child to suffer. But and he's preaching the child that, see, if you go that side of the world, it's going to be suffering, but yet the child wants to suffer. And after going through so much of suffering and everything, and then again the father is always there with open arms, and he's saying that, see, come here, this is the real world, and here this world is full of happiness and all that. So again, with the free will of yourself, like it's our free will that we have come to this material world. It's not that the Lord who sent us here. So it's because of our free will we have come here.
Okay.
Just want to add to this. That's one point which we also discussed, was that the Lord has also given us ways and means in this material world how to go back to God, at the Shastras and everything else. So He's given all that as well. So whilst we are enjoying over here or suffering, we have those ways and means how to go back as well. So He's given all that facility. And the other thing, other point, Prabhu, is that we can also tell is that the material world is just 1/4 of the entire all this universe is just 1/4, and we've got the spiritual world which is much bigger. So it's like the jail, which is very small, but then outside the jail is very big.
Very good. Good answers. Prabhash Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think it's Lord Krishna wants to fulfill your desire only, our desire only, that we want to enjoy over the material nature. That is why He has created the material world. And also that when you are in the material world, you see the opulence of the Lord more clearly than you are in the spiritual world. So that also it is opportunity for us to see how big is this universe is, and how the Lord is so opulent that He can create this material universe. He is maintaining it, creating as well as innovating it. So that means if you are in the material world, you can see the opulence of the Lord, if you are intelligent enough, more clearly than if you have been in the spiritual world. Because in the spiritual world, everybody is Sachidananda Rup.
Yeah, so devotee can be Krishna conscious anywhere. That's true. Material world is the impetus to be Krishna conscious.
Prabhu, there is another example I can quote is when one person who never been to Mumbai, he actually goes to Mumbai and finds very difficult to get on to any local trains, and then he finds that there is one compartment which is very has got less people in it. He jumps into that and get caught by a TC because that's a first class compartment, and he has got a normal ticket. So what I'm trying to say is the rules were set previously. If you are not aware of the rules, that's your problem, not the problem of the Lord. And it's because of your selection. You try to enjoy the first class by sitting in there, but the suffering has to follow for that. So you are actually trying to enjoy, and the sufferings are coming. Not that Lord is giving you the suffering. The rules are there already, but you chose to enjoy, and then you got the suffering for that as well. So it's not Lord is giving you suffering. It's you choosing the suffering as well. So the rules of the games are already set before.
Very good. Very good answer. Yeah, that's very true. So anybody else? Yeah.
As all were saying,
Good
the
question.
choice is ours. The choice is ours.
Yes.
And for pure devotees, they find happiness every moment in this material world itself. And we are suffering because we have chosen to suffer. The moment we remember Krishna, we become happy. And all this has been very beautifully sung by Purandaradasa. He says, Yake bandi jiva, yake bandi. He's saying, hey jiva, why have you come here? Like in Tamil, vande, yen vande, like that. Yake bandi jiva, yake bandi, lokada anubhava bekaite ninage. Did you want the anubhava of this world? Loka, this loka? Is that why you have come? And then finally he's saying, Adadella aitu. Oh, okay, whatever you've done, everything is finished. Now start remembering Purandara Vithala and go back.
Very good.
Just wanted to give small example on WhatsApp yesterday. I got one short thing, and in that the man was crying very loudly and telling that, Mom, please forgive me. I forgot what you have done for me, and you have given me the curse that your kids will be 10 times worse than you. Now I'm suffering that. Now I understand what you have done for me. So please forgive me. So unless we get that suffering, or unless we go into that mood, we don't understand what the person has done for us. So in Sydney, we can just give the example that Krishna is not putting us in that bad situation. But still, we should understand that He is taking so much care of us, but still we are forgetting Him. So maybe.
Okay. Okay, Rachika, you take the after that.
Prabhu, I think the sufferings in the material world which make us turn to bhakti are also the blessings in disguise.
Yes.
Because the people who think that they are very happy, if you try to convince them the material world is dukhalayam. I was arguing with someone in office and he said that you are depressed. It's so difficult for them to accept that Dukhalayam Shashvata. So
Lato ke bhoot. Manibhushita. And then Janardhan.
It's answer to both actually, even Nanda Gokul Prabhu, like the devotee who is not coming to temple, unless until you suffer in your life, like, because it's not suffering is like Krishna, what father and son, father is trying to send some, so he's suffering because what I found when I was in Australia, I was alone 7 years here, and I was like sin student, but I was suffering because of my parents were not there, and I was like when I was the only child. So thing is, like, when I suffered, I always used to pray, like, please help me, or please guide me, and all the way I came to Krishna now. So I found that without suffering you can't go to Krishna. So unless until you suffer, that means Krishna is calling you. That is the mercy of Krishna actually. So without mercy you can't go to Krishna. And that's suffering every time. Till now we are suffering little bit or something. Whatever suffering we are doing, we are just thinking, okay, maybe Krishna wants us to do this. So unless until the devotee is chanting, even chanting will help, but unless until you suffer, that is the testing period of Krishna, you can't go to Krishna. You can't see Krishna. So
necessary for purification.
It is said that mercy comes in any form. So it's, I mentioned, mercy comes in any form. It's like how we take it.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Mother Kunti, like, she also suffered so much, but all the time, like, she was remembering Krishna. And actually, if we see in her situation, like, what she has suffered, it was like so hard. Any lady, like, would have totally got devastated. But every time she took shelter of Lord, and she was always blissful. And she prayed towards the end that, oh, give me more suffering so that I always remember you.
Right. Okay.
Jagannath Yatra, that Pandas, you said that there's a panda which Mataji explained one of the session, that you went and asked, like Mataji went and asked to Pandas, can we get the mercy? So he said, you want the mercy of Jagannath? You want to see how merciful he is. So he just showed some marks on the back. So that is suffering actually.
They were carrying Jagannath on their back, and next day, like, actually we were praying for my parents, like, and they should join the movement because they're so pious otherwise and so Krishna conscious, but just they were not associated with ISKCON. So we were like behind these two pandas, telling them, like, please pray for our parents, please pray, and please pray for us also. So then they said that you don't know how merciful Lord Jagannath is, like, it's beyond your imagination. Then he said, he is, you really want his mercy, and we are getting his mercy. So are you ready to accept his mercy in any form that comes? And then he just removes his gamcha and he shows his back, and as if it was like, somebody has beaten them with lot of chabuk, like what you say, like so much, and whole back was like full of scratches and, like, splitted a little and blood was flowing. And in that night when Jagannath reaches Gundicha, and they have to take a sea bath and then come back to Gundicha and worship Lord early in the morning, giving him bath, brushing his teeth, offer bhoga and everything. So he's saying that we have to go to sea to take a bath, and with such wounds, going and taking a sea bath, like, it's salty water, so
adding salt to the wound.
It's like so much difficult. And on their face they were so blissful, and nobody knew that they were actually suffering with so much pain and everything. So he and yet whole night they didn't sleep and going and having so much suffering, and he's like, Jagannath will give you this kind of mercy, are you ready to take? I was like, oh God, this is in like year 2000, and till date I remember. It's so painful, the words that he spoke. So I was just sharing with this.
Yeah, very nice. Oh, Devaki Maji. Yeah. I think Janardhan will make that the last comment after this. I have to wind up. So.
No, Prabhu, I have a friend and she has a child who is in her 20s, but she's physically and mentally retarded. So the mother told me, God didn't want my daughter to realize what a vicious place we are in, and that's why He made her like that. And then when I see her, Prabhu, it's not only the child is not suffering, but the family is suffering because of the child. And I always wonder why should it have been like that?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think we'll take that question. Huh? There's another topic. Yeah, another topic. We can discuss that offline after this class. Yeah, it is very sad. I mean, it's very painful for the parent. I can understand. Yeah, we can discuss that separately. Yeah. Janardhan Prabhu?
No, it's a response to what Ruchika Mataji mentioned, that the non-devotees, if we try to speak to them, telling them dukhalayam, ashashvatam this, they come back to us saying you are depressed. Now, at the moment, probably, they may appear that they are happy. We may also, because we are young, but then there is an old age stage, there is a death stage.
Yeah.
So unless, we are devotees, there's no soft landing. So at least, if we are devotees, Krishna will show us the mercy. Because old age is so difficult. Like loss of eyesight, loss of hearing.
Everything.
So, and it's not permanent. At this stage, whatever we are, it's not permanent. So probably that may be a better answer to tell them that, look, it's not a question of getting depressed, but it's a question of, serving the Lord, who is ultimately going to take care of us.
They don't want to think about it. That's why they avoid that topic completely. You stick your head in the sand, you'll be happy. So ostrich mentality. That's what to do. That's their way. Unfortunately, I think most of the... Oh, you tell me. Okay, self-answering, Swayam answer.
Yeah, very simple. When Krishna has said that should be absolute truth. That's the answer, I thought.
Yeah, that is true. If they're willing to accept Krishna, then there's no problem at all. Because I think most of the points have been covered, that this material world is a place of suffering. So Krishna explains in the 5th chapter, actually, that he has got nothing to do with the suffering or the enjoyment of the living entity. He is independent. He is nothing to do with him. It is our own, I think Sharmukhi said that, it is our own actions and consequences where with the choices we make, we get certain consequences. So the choices we have made, either in the present or past, is giving us and putting us in certain situation. And we have nothing to blame. So Prabhupada gives an example, like the government has a police department, has also got a health department. The health department looks after health and takes care of you, hospitals and all, doctors. That's the facility they're giving. But the police department puts you in jail. Now if I break the law, I'll see the police. If I am sick, I go to the doctor. The same government is doing both. They're giving welfare activity, they're doing punishment also. But it is our action that leads us to the one or the other. The government is not only jail department. For a criminal, the government sees, Prabhupada explained that he sees only the government means jail, government means police, government means punishment, government means statistic. That's how he sees it, because of his actions. So we are nothing known to blame. Whatever base situation we are in, that is one aspect of the answer. The second aspect of the answer I would give him, okay, do you have better plan than Krishna then? How to reform the living entities? You tell us. You want to create another world and do it a different way? Go for it. You have the power. If you don't have the power, better keep quiet. We are no position to tell how things should be. Now I will say this road should be blocked. I don't have the authority to do that. No one should come. Too much noise at night. I can't sleep. Night time the road should be closed. I can say that. Do you think that will be accepted? They'll say you buy all the property on this land, then we'll think about it. Buy all the houses on this road on both sides. You buy all the entire real estate, then we'll block this road. Not until then. So you don't have the qualification to speak like that. Or you should have a better plan. You can say it in a nice way, but that's the bottom line, isn't it? We can't call the shots, in other words. Our position is so insignificant. We should be like this, should be like that. You become Krishna and see. You take the responsibility of Krishna and do it and see. No, you can't. So we have to understand the purpose rather than complaining and becoming depressed. You should see the purpose behind it. If you don't understand it, then too bad, isn't it? Ask him, do you have better solution? This is Krishna's solution. You have better solution? If you don't have, then just shut up and put up with it. What else can you say? If they are being rude, then you can also be equally strong. But with that, read the rest of the purport. For any other hands go up. I didn't see any other hands. Yeah, it is good. We have to have Prabhupada to do like that. He would have debates with devotees. So it starts with, so for a devotee, there is no difficulty in approaching the Supreme immediately. You found it? Okay, Ruchika, start reading then. I'll give it to Ruchika. Yeah. So for a devotee,
there is no difficulty in approaching the Supreme immediately and directly. But for those who are following the impersonal way to spiritual realization, the path is difficult. They have to understand the unmanifested representation of the Supreme through such Vedic literatures as the Upanishads, and they have to learn the language, understand the non-perceptual feelings, and realize all these processes. This is not very easy for a common man. A person in Krishna consciousness, engaged in devotional service, simply by the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, simply by offering regulative obeisances unto the deity, simply by hearing the glories of the Lord, and simply by eating the remnants of the foodstuffs offered to the Lord, realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead very easily. There is no doubt that the impersonalists are unnecessarily taking a troublesome path with the risk of not realizing the absolute truth at the ultimate end. But the personalists, without any risk, trouble, or difficulty, approach the Supreme Lord directly. A similar passage appears in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is stated there that if one ultimately has to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this surrender process is called bhakti, but instead takes the trouble to understand what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, and spends his whole life in that way, the result is simply troublesome. Therefore, it is advised here that one should not take up this troublesome path of self-realization, because there is uncertainty in the ultimate result.
Okay. Now, Hema Mataji is not spoken at all. We'll hear from her. Read the last paragraph.
A living entity is eternally an individual soul, and if he wants to merge into the spiritual whole, he may accomplish the realization of the eternal and knowledgeable aspect of his original nature. But the blissful portion is not realized. By the grace of some devotees, such a transcendentalist, highly learned in the process of Jnana Yoga, may come to the point of Bhakti Yoga or devotional service. At that time, long practice in impersonalism also become a source of trouble, because he cannot give up the idea. Therefore, an embodied soul is always in difficulty with the unmanifest, both at the time of practice and at the time of realization. Every living soul is partially independent, and one should know for certain that his unmanifested realization is against the nature of his spiritual blissful self. One should not take up this process. For every individual living entity, the process of Krishna consciousness, which entails full engagement in devotional service, is the best way. If one wants to ignore this devotional service, there is the danger of turning into atheism. Thus, the process of centering attention on the unmanifested, the inconceivable, which is beyond the approach of the senses, as already expressed in this verse, should never be encouraged at any time, especially in this age. It is not advised by Lord Krishna.
Thank you. So the last section, Prabhupada makes the comment about Satchitananda, that in the path of impersonal path, one may get Sat. Sat means eternal. One understands that I am eternal. Aham Brahmosmi, I am eternal. They get that knowledge. Sat, eternal. And Chit, they have understanding of the impersonal feature, Brahman feature of the Lord. But as a devotee has, Chit is complete. Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. And Ananda also, they are only entitled to Brahmananda, the impersonalist. Whereas the devotee gets the full Ananda of Krishna Prema. Premananda. And even Sevananda. That is not available to the impersonalists. So even Satchitananda is there for them, it's only partial, reduced version. Whereas for devotees, Satchitananda is complete. Okay? This is the last section. So that's why so finally Prabhupada gives a warning, if one wants to ignore the devotional service, danger of turning to atheism. One will become an atheist. Because if you don't take up bhakti, it's very difficult to follow the other path. So what is the alternative? No path. No path means become atheist. If you try the other paths, it doesn't work, so then you give up completely. So by ignoring bhakti, they're missing out on the chance. Okay? I think it's already time for Mathura Gokul Mati. Sri Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Samveda Bhaktivinda ki jai.
Today's prasadam has been cooked by Vandana Mataji. She's so unassuming, so quiet, always in the background, unlike me. And she cooks very nice prasadam. So thank you to Prabhash Prabhu and Vandana Mataji. Radha Vandana Mataji and Prabhas Krishna Prabhu ki jai.
Yeah, they've got the mic there. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. The reading from the Jewels of Nectar by Kadamba Kanan Swami. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting loudly. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered us to chant loudly, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was chanting very loudly and explaining that by his loud chanting, he was delivering all the conditioned souls. There is also a testimony from a neighbor of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, an elderly gentleman who lived in Mayapur, that Bhakti Vinoda Thakur would chant so loudly that the neighbors were also chanting when he was chanting. So like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting loudly, and the Vaishnava in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are meant to chant loudly to deliver the conditioned soul. But we should also engage the mind in the chanting and not just produce the sound. The mind must be very much involved in the chanting. Hare Krishna.
So let's chant loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. His Holiness Kankan Maharaj ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Nand Gokul Prabhu.
Prabhu, I have just make one apology for my not doing my service last time very properly of recording. I've actually listened to my own recording. It wasn't set, the setting wasn't properly, so the voice quality is not that good. So I would like to apologize. And second thing, I would like to apologize from the team side, as I was running a little late. I wasn't in the proper what you can say Vaishnava uniform and tilak for the last Sunday service, but I chose to be on the time rather than well dressed, so I would like to apologize for that as well.
No, and dress is not so important if the service requires lifting, shifting, climbing up ladders, so that time dhoti may not be practical. So for service, one can make some concessions.
Okay, Prabhu, and I would like to thank whole team because of their efforts we managed to finish the service on time and start the service on time. So I would like to thank everyone from the team.
Thank you for coordinating it as always. And same Mathura Gokul Mataji also behind the scenes, emailing, phoning, and moving rosters. How many months you have been doing now? 1 year already? Or?
No,
8-9 months. Yeah. Very, very nice. We had the best, actually. This is the best 9 months we had of temple service. It's very nice. Thank you for doing that.